Hi, my name is Sebastián and I'm 17 years old.
Hi, I'm Jason and I'm 18 years old.
We're going to do an interview about the Cold War and I'm going to interview him. So let's start with the first question, which is what countries were the world leaders during this period?
Okay, so the countries that were involved in the Cold War were divided into US allies and USSR allies, totaling more than 20 countries, among them Poland, East Germany, Albania, Czechoslovakia, and etc.
The second question is why did the countries who were allies during the wars become enemies afterwards?
Okay, so the main reasons were essentially ideological and political. For example, on one hand, the Soviet Union financed and supported revolutions, guerrillas, and socialist governments, while the US gave open support and spread destabilizations and coups, especially in Latin America. In both cases, human rights were violated.
So the third question is where did the Cold War take place?
The Cold War wasn't exactly like a physical event, such as previous wars like World War II. It was like more like a competition between the US and the USSR, which is the Soviet Union. So the two superpowers certainly wished to implement their model of government among the world.
The fourth question is what opinion did the general public have of the Cold War?
Although there was certainly some relaxation of tensions after Stalin's death in 1953, the situation in Europe remained uncomfortable, with both sides heavily armed but with no apparent movements. So, US troops remained stationed indefinitely in West Germany, and Soviet troops continued to be stationed indefinitely throughout Eastern Europe. So, taking advantage of the acceleration of the decolonization during the 50s and 60s, both the United States and the USSR competed to increase its influence in decolonized countries.
And the final question is what type of weapons did the two world powers have at their disposal?
Okay, so obviously both have nuclear weapons, but they also have like other types of weapons used like in infantry. For example, the NATO had the FMH, and the Soviets had the AK-47, and the US had the Bombardier F-4 Phantom, and the NATO had the Chieftain, which was a tank, and finally the US had the USS George Washington, which was the first nuclear submarine.
Okay, so in conclusion, we can say that this war is like power competition.
Yes, it's like more like a power competition and a scientific competition among the US and the USSR mainly.
About who was like the best in all the facts.
It depends. This competition led to implement like a better scientific knowledge for all the world because they were like competing in which was the first to achieve what. For example, the USSR was the first to launch a satellite, but then the US created the NASA, which later launched another satellite. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
yeah.